great guest here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I do believe around the corner, Keith Wahl with me from Rhode Island. Come on in, Keith. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Pleased to meet you.
We're going to talk right to the folks over here. We brought you in because we had a piece today. We said, what's the state of the brand of Rhode Island? Are Rhode Island brands on the demise? You hit back with a definitive no.
Absolutely not.
So talk with us about Made from Rhode Island, where it started, how it started, and where things stand today.
Well, Made from Rhode Island, it was started off like all great things in a conversation in a car on a long trip with my wife, who came up with the idea. Between the two of us, we have a combination of, we have sort of an eclectic background, let's just say that. She has worked for several years, 30, for a safety equipment company that is over a century old, and it is owned by her family. I have worked for big business for many years. I was a DBA, head DBA for Citigroup, for Citizens Bank, and because we have nothing else to do with two small children, we decided to start a business. And part of that was the lament that nothing is made here in Rhode Island anymore. Well, having a business intelligence background, I started looking into it and discovered, yeah, we do.
Yes, there are.
There are a lot. And what we discovered beyond that is not only are things made here, but one of the gaps was that people are so good at doing what they do, they don't necessarily tell anybody what they're doing. And that's okay.
That's fine.
We fall into that. We will fall into that gap. We'll use some technology. And what we've done since then, we literally have hundreds of products made here in the state online. We have brought in everything from artists and artisans to larger companies that make goods that are only made here and are distributed throughout the world. So it's actually been quite the journey, and now we're starting to take it to phase 2, where we're taking some of our own artwork and making it functional. So tile, cutting boards, cell phone covers, will be made, not only made here, but will have customized imprints if somebody wants a logo, if somebody wants a photograph. If somebody wants something photographed of something specific, we'll go do it. So it's growing by leaps and bounds that way.
So when you talk about what's made here in the state and folks who are creating and making things that are being exported, are they really their own brand that just needs that extra push to get it out there?
Oh, absolutely. I'll use one example that sells like crazy for us, quite frankly. Ornaments made by what was ChemArt, it's now Beacon Design. The only place in the world that these are made are right here in Rhode Island. Yet, if you go visit the Senate or the Congress and buy an ornament, a decorative ornament there, it was made here. If you buy a White House ornament, it was made here. They are, and the family does some wonderful things. They make ornaments every year for the state police. They have donated a lot of money to the chemistry department at URI. So that's an example that we've brought in that is just, they're ornaments that people use year round. We have that as an example. There are pens that are still made here 100% in Rhode Island. Garland pen, we carry those, we customize those, or have them customized. So those are some of the bigger brands that we carry, and there are a few more, but and then we work with smaller stuff as well. One that feeds into another that feeds into another. For example, we'll work with some authors. I also come from a maritime background, so I worked with David Norton Stone and Chris Martin, who's at quahog.org. They wrote a book on clam shacks. I consulted on some of the pictures. They actually quoted me in some of the book.
We had them in here in studio.
Exactly. But yeah, we get to sell their book along with a lot of other people. But beyond that, what they're doing is they're working with other local businesses to promote the Rhode Island business market. And it's kind of everybody working together that way. So we're trying to continue that kind of thing where everybody's working together a little bit in the state and saying that we don't have to, you don't have to do this all on your own. You don't have to do this all on your own. And we can be agile enough to make things customized. The funny thing that we've run into is we're an online entity and we do a lot of shows and we try to support a lot of shows such as the Louvre over in East Providence and what have you. What we found is even though at Christmas time we're everywhere, if you look at our schedule coming up online, on our Facebook page, we're everywhere at Christmas time. Even with that, 70 to 80% of our Christmas sales are around the country. Actually, I should say 70% of them are west of the Mississippi. So the idea that things can't, that things made from Rhode Island don't exist, well, we've kind of gotten rid of that idea. That they don't sell, we've kind of gotten rid of that idea as well. And now we're trying to push it to the next level a little bit and say, okay, now you can go buy something from Amazon, sure, that's great, and we encourage you to do so. However, we can make it a little more for you. What do you want?
The customer,
specifically?
The customer experience.
Exactly.
So we've heard folks, you saw it when Benny said it was closing, this beloved store of what was here in Rhode Island. What would you say to folks if you want to support Rhode Island businesses and Rhode Island products, if you were a big fan of Benny's? Should folks be supporting Rhode Island business if they're those same folks who are lamenting the demise of the Benny's chain?
I'm not going to say anything against Benny's. Let's put it that way. I'm going to say things for everybody else. Mm-hmm. Benny's, they made their decisions based on their life, their lifestyle. My understanding is that it was retirement. Yes, we should support Rhode Island businesses. And my personal feeling, I don't know if they do or not. My personal feeling is when I talk about those ornaments in Congress, I feel that our representatives, our senators should be down there at least once a week saying, you know where that was made? I come from where that was made. So I don't think it's just support and purchase. I think it's cheerleading a little bit. Mm-hmm. Take a little pride in the state and what's made here. It's great stuff. I have another example. It's kind of great that in the last couple of weeks I have a potter out in Oregon who's part of a big consortium of potters and what have you. We have a little product called an Eco-Top. It's entirely made here in Rhode Island. She said she bought a couple from us to test them. And then she said, this is the best thing I've found. It fits anything I make. I need more. Mm-hmm. What can you do for me? And of course, we worked with her to try and get volume pricing and everything else. Our product, this Eco-Top product made here, is going to be out in Oregon being sold on travel mugs that are handmade by the 100. And now we have something else that we're making somebody else's product better in another state. I think that's great. I think that's a point of pride.
Do all of these made in Rhode Island products have that little made in, made from our eye as yours? But if it's made in our eye, when you turn the ornament around, do you see made in our eye? And when you see the top, do you see made in our eye?
Actually, they have a beautiful case. It says made in USA, yes. But it does say on the back of the case, Lincoln, Rhode Island. Not everything is like that. If it doesn't come in a beautiful case, we put something in it. We put a card in it. We put a sticker on it. We make sure that somebody knows where it came from. We want them to know that it came from Rhode Island.
So do you get reached out to by sort of local businesses, local creators that say, hey, saw you on Go Local, heard about you, how can we work with you? I mean, there must be a huge audience for this.
Absolutely. Just the other day we had a jeweler, somebody making jewelry in North Providence, approach us. We need to get back to them and work with them a little bit. But yes, we have that happen all the time. We have built a huge following on Facebook, which has been wonderful, as well as other social media. But we keep on building that out. People do come to us on a regular basis. Some work out, some don't, but most of them do. And it's actually kind of interesting talking to some of these people, that we have some great characters out there.
Rhode Island, we are certainly full of them.
That's
What
right.
makes us Rhode Island.
That's
what
correct.
makes us Made from Rhode Island.
That's right.
Well, you've reached out to us again after the piece today. What else would you like folks to know about Made from Rhode Island as you're here in studio?
That we have great products, that we like working with our customers, we like working with other people who make things. We make a lot of things ourselves. A lot of our ideas are coming out of, we got a new puppy, we started making dog things. And actually they've become somewhat popular. And if we're going to make some dog things, we're going to make the people version too.
Wait. The people version of dog things. What are we talking about here?
Same as our dog collars.
Oh, it's the
Same-
keychain.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There you go. With the people purpose.
And we listen to people. We will work with people to develop things as well. We had somebody come up to us at a show and say, we are always carrying a little, the standard water bottle that everybody has. Do you have anything that we could clip this on with? No, we don't. But we made something. And what was interesting is, as we made it, it became a featured product for one of the annual meetings of Appalachian Mountain Club.
Ah.
So we are willing to work with people. We are willing to talk with people. We're a couple of human beings, and we want to make the experience the best possible.
Well, I appreciate your coming in today because, as I said, we were questioning what was happening with Rhode Island brand. You wanted to come in and say Made from Rhode Island. There's a lot going on with the Rhode Island brand right now, so be sure to check them out. Keith, I appreciate your taking the time to come in today. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Thank you so
And
much.
if you're watching now, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching after, there'll be plenty of hyperlinks on the link. So thank you for coming in. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so
Okay.